Former Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, is currently being held by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Mr. Emefiele, who is being questioned at the national headquarters of the anti-graft agency, Jabi, Abuja, was picked up by EFCC operatives Thursday night, less than an hour after he was freed from the Department of State Services facilities. According to reports, the embattled former CBN Governor is being investigated by the EFCC for possible improper behavior while he was the head of the Apex Bank. Mr. Emefiele had been in the custody of the Department of State Services since June, following his suspension from the office by President Bola Tinubu and subsequent arrest. On the 25th of July, a federal high court in Lagos granted bail to Mr. Emefiele to the tune of 20 million naira. But the DSS denied him the liberty. To further discuss this, I'm being joined on the news by legal practitioner Liborous Oshomah. Thank you very much for giving us your time. The former CBN governor was in the custody of the DSS for more than 4 months, despite the fact that he was granted bail, as I just read. Help us understand why the Secret Service refused to let him go and then turned around to change the charge from illegal possession of firearm to fraud. Hello, Liborous Oshomah. If you can hear me, kindly confirm.
Yes, I can hear you now. I wasn't hearing you before.
Okay, let me repeat my question. I just read that the former governor of the CBN was in the custody of DSS for more than 4 months, despite the fact that he was granted bail in July. I want you to help us understand why the secret police refused to let him go and then turned around to change the charge from illegal possession of firearm to fraud.
I think, if you can hear me, I think that's some of the things that we have complained about, in the attitude, the way and manner that some of our, security agencies handles affairs of states. The high-handedness, irrespective of who is involved, whether high, low, or mighty, the rule of law should be held sacrosanct. People should be treated in compliance with the provisions of the law. You do not charge a man when you know you don't have ample evidence to substantiate that charge. And if there's need for you to hold that person beyond the constitutionally allowed time to hold such a person, I think that it behoves on such agency to approach the court and give, cogent reasons and before the court why they should be allowed to hold such a person beyond that time. And then this attitude of violating court orders by security agency, is contrary to the position of the rule of law. And if you remember, the president on the day of inauguration point blank said that his government was going to uphold the rule of law. But a situation where security agencies in the country are violating the rule of law, this is contrary to the position, of the president in his inaugural speech. And a country where the rule of law is observed in breach, no matter how you globetrot around the world, it becomes very difficult for you to woo foreign investors. I think Emefiele from day one ought to have been charged for economic crime. There is no need all of this firearms possession, fraud. It's obvious from the activities and the behavior of CBN under Emefiele. If the government does not have, a conclusive investigation, they can release him and allow him to go pending investigation, hold on to his passport via a court order, and then, instead of this hide and seek, you hold him, the court granted him bail, right in the court premises there. We saw the display of irresponsibility between the prison officials and the DSS over rearrest of Emefiele. It's absolutely uncalled for.
There's another argument I'd like your thought on, and it is that Emefiele's alleged offenses are purely financial, like you agreed, and as such, that the anti-graft agency ought to have been in charge of the matter from the start of his travel. What do you have to say to this? Now that they are in the picture, what do you expect to happen?
Yeah, I completely agree that from the blast of the whistle, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
From the blast of the whistle, I completely agree that the anti-graft agency ought to have been in charge of its investigation. But unfortunately, the then chairman of the anti-graft agency also was in the custody of the DSS over issues that till date we do not know. Maybe also that has to do with corruption, because it will be impossible for the anti-graft to investigate one of theirs. That's a quagmire also that we would probably discuss someday. But in that case, I think everybody, because now we hear, if anything we hear in the news is ready to go by, that there were some persons, including people like Dangote, that the government invested money in their business, also accusing fingers are pointed at him in the investigation of Emefiele. So I think that everybody that is related to the allegations against Emefiele should also be investigated, and such persons brought to book.
That's a tall order.
As a sacrificial lamb.
That is really a tall order. Okay.
Emefiele was a CBN governor, and today is in custody of the DSS. So nobody is above the law. So if people benefited wrongly from Emefiele, it shouldn't be used as sacrificial lamb. These people also should be made to face the music. Simple. So that, you forestall. Sorry, quickly. So that you forestall a reoccurrence where people are enriched at the detriment of the states.
All right. It was reported that Emefiele was striking a deal with the government by way of plea bargain. Some say that such practice will not serve as a deterrent for crime. Instead, it allows the suspect to buy his freedom with part of the loot, whereas others say it saves the country time and resources from long trial. What's your position on this?
I think that from what had happened, if the country if you've been able to establish such a crime against the person beyond reasonable doubt, what's the essence of allowing the person to go with some loot and then you just grab some? The message you are telling to those people would-be looter is that loot so much and then enter into a plea bargain someday, give out some and keep the rest, and then you go and sin no more. Plea bargain ordinarily, from where it originated from, is using smaller criminals to catch the bigger ones. You cannot call, allegations against somebody like Emefiele small allegations. But if you are using him to catch people, businessmen that he was alleged to have given, millions of dollars to at official rate, despite, the scarcity of the currency at that time, and which is what we are suffering today, then you can't say, yes, okay, you're trying to use Emefiele as a bait to catch and recover so much. But the fact that we're hearing that you recover some from him and allow him to go, the humongous amount we're hearing is mind-boggling, considering the fact that even now, as we speak now, the country is suffering from forest scarcity. So, and the economy is not smiling. So, I do not think that it is wise for you to go into such plea bargaining because you want to save time, except you really have not investigated or you cannot prove the crime against him.
All right. What may Nigerians anticipate from all you've heard about the case, and now that he's in the EFCC's custody, what should we be anticipating from the EFCC as regards this case?
Unfortunately, we have a new EFCC leader who probably will want to show that he can bite. But knowing fully well the powers that be and how things are done here, I will be surprised if we see Emefiele go to jail for the crime he committed against humanity, for all of the activities that happened in CBN under him. I would want to see not just him, but even people who benefited from all of those shady deeds also thrown behind bars. But like you said, it's a tall order. There are allegations that Dangote benefited immensely from this Emefiele deal. How come it's Emefiele that has just been dragging left and right and center? Where are others that benefited from all of this, forest bazaar,
So you're optimistic that the EFCC might spread its tentacle and get more people that's associated with the former governor. I'm afraid that's not time we have.
I'm calling on EFCC to spread its tentacles. I'm not optimistic. Let them prove me wrong. Let them spread their tentacles and actually bring everybody to about at least 50% of people associated with him, including Emefiele, so that Nigerians will say truly EFCC is going after the big ones.
All right, Liborous, thank you very much for speaking with us. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure.